overseas audience on Radio Australia to Grandstand's coverage of the Melbourne Cup. Good afternoon, Peter Booth in the mounting yard at Flemington, where conditions are overcast and cold. The track is heavy after 2 inches of rain over the past couple of days. The car park is awash, spoiling much of the pre-Cup celebrations. And joining me for our coverage of the big race, Pat Hyland, who rode What a Nuisance to victory 10 years ago, and now as a trainer will saddle up Salius in Thursday's VRC Oaks. Salius, a brilliant winner of the Wakeful here at Flemington on Saturday. Pat, welcome. And has the heavy track made a winner easier or a little bit harder to pick?
Oh, it's made it very confusing, Peter. Mainly because of the fact that, you know, the horses that we picked out in the last, you know, we've been watching coming along, they've sort of, well, we just don't know about them. So, you know, I've had to change my thoughts as to what'll win the race to something that we know will handle the ground.
Well, we'll get your expert thoughts soon. I know you have changed your mind on your first pick. We'll get that shortly. Back to the mounting yard shortly, but now it's good afternoon to Greg Miles, who'll be calling his 15th Cup in around 10 minutes from now. Good afternoon, Greg.
Thanks. Good afternoon, Peter, and good afternoon, everyone. Well, from our vantage point high in the stands, this is now a very healthy-looking Melbourne Cup crowd. It looked a little down earlier. Obviously, people have been hiding away from the cold and the rain up in the stands, but they've come out to watch the big Cup. And probably over 80,000 people here as the jockeys mount up, and soon they'll be ushered out onto the track for the 95 Melbourne Cup, the 135th running of our great race. The favourite is Double Trigger. He's at $5.30 and $2.70, and bookmakers betting 4-1. He's been favourite for 2 months, and nothing is going to change on the day of the big race. Jeune has been easy and then backed in again. Last year's winner. He's $15.30 and $5.20. These are for a $1 investment, so about 14-1 on the tote, and a little shorter, or a little better than that on track, in fact. Vintage Crop is $8.90 and $3.10. He's just eased a point on course, but he is still equal second favourite. There has been a big move for one of Gai Waterhouse's team, and I'll get to that in just a moment. Number 6 is Doremus at $9.70 and $3.40, the Caulfield Cup winner. Number 9, Count Chivas at $14 and $4.70. Down to number 16, this is the one, Fewer Chosen. It's been backed into equal second pick now with Vintage Crop. Number 16, Fewer Chosen, at $11.60 and $3.60, but is a couple of points shorter than that on course here at Flemington. And the 3-year-old, Nothing Like a Dane, about a 20-1 chance at $15.40 and $4.80. Yes, Indeed, and Stormer in the market. Number 17, Yes, Indeed, is $20.30 and $6.10, but a good deal shorter than that on track. At 18, Storm is $17.20 and $5.30. But the European champion, Double Trigger, will run favourite in the 95 Melbourne Cup. Pete, back to you. Soon they'll be out on the track.
Yes, thank you, Greg. Pat Holland with me, and I've just asked Pat to go and have a look at Double Trigger. Of course, as you mentioned, the horses parading with the jockeys aboard in the mounting yard, and also to have a look at Vintage Crop. Pat, what did you make of them?
Double Trigger looks absolutely magic, Peter. He's really, really lovely horse. Beautiful horse, and I'm sure that, you know, it's not on the score of fitness that'll beat him. Vintage Crop, well, he's a magic-looking horse anyway. I mean, we've seen him here the last couple of years, and he's been a lovely horse, and he still is a lovely horse. I think he's going to be the horse, you know, with the sting out of the track. I think he's going to run exceptional.
And your selections in the Cup, I believe that we've been pretty keen on Storm, but may have just gone off him. Well, there's the fanfare. We'll be back with Pat Hyland in just a moment, and the horse is about to leave the mounting yard, and Greg Miles is about to introduce the horses onto the track to the vast crowd here at Flemington.
Ladies and gentlemen, they're coming out now for the running of the 1995 Melbourne Cup. The field is led out by Double Trigger, the champion stayer from the UK, Jason Weaver. Number 2, the reigning Cup hero, Jeune, Wayne Harris. 3, Vintage Crop, the winner from 1993 from Ireland, Michael Kinane. Number 4 is the Phantom Chance, the 93 Cox Plate winner, Bobby Vance. 5, It's All in Fun, who's been placed in an Auckland and Wellington Cup, Shane Scriven. 6, the Caulfield Cup winner, Doremus, Damien Oliver looking for his first Melbourne Cup win. 7, Stony Bay, a Group 1 winner in the Ranford and BMW, Darren Beedman. 8 is Bullwinkle, winner of a South Australian Derby in St Leger, and Frank Dettori on board. 9 Count Chivas, the VRC St Leger and South Australian Derby winner Rod Griffiths. 10 is Darcher, the Sydney Cup winner Brett Preble. 11 is Scratch, 12 is Double Take, who ran 4th in it last year. John Didham having his first Melbourne Cup ride. 13 is Scratching Gossips. 14 is Quick Ransom, having his second run of the Melbourne Cup. A winner at the distance in England, Mick Detman. 15, Sir Kingy, who was placed in the Crown Quality, Peter Hutchinson. Number 16, Fewer Chosen, well tried today, placed in a Brisbane Cup, Larry Cassidy. 17 is Yes Indeed, runner-up in a Wellington Cup, unlucky in the Caulfield Cup, Robert Cadigan. Number 18, Storm, the Moonee Valley Cup winner, Greg Hall on board, who was victorious here in 1992. 19 from Western Australia, Boart. Boart, an AJC St Leger winner, David Taggart. Number 20, Coachwood, who led all the way in the Crown Quality Saturday, Brian York. 21 is Dupain, who was runner-up in the Crown Quality, Stephen Baster. 22, Electronic, the Metropolitan Handicap winner, Glenn Boss. And number 23, the Victoria Derby winner, backing up in the Melbourne Cup, Nothing Like a Dane, Shane Dye. The field of 21 on its way to the start for the 135th Melbourne Cup. Still the favourite is Double Trigger. They're out doing their preliminaries, Peter. And the race, the great race, worth $2 million, is time to start in about 7 minutes.
Thank you, Greg. Yes, OK, Greg. We'll cross back to you in about 3 or 4 just for a quick update on the latest betting in the Melbourne Cup. Pat Hyland still with me. Pat, before the fanfare, we're about to get your selections for the great race.
Oh, well, I for the last couple of weeks, I've liked Storm in the race, but I'm just worried about the wet track with Storm. And I've now changed to Vintage Crop to win the race. Fewer Chosen because of the wet conditions. I think he handles the wet conditions very well. And I'll put Storm in for 3rd.
Well, the track is heavy, but except for one race when a horse missed the start and came from last in a sprint race, it really has been a front runner's track. You really have to be up there today.
It seems that way, yes, Peter. I mean, all the races have been won by horses up close, as you say. And in that particular race, there was only very few runners, and the horse had plenty of room wherever he was going. So I wouldn't think that, I think that the horses up close will have an advantage.
Well, Pat, you won the Cup 10 years ago virtually to the day, and as a jockey, were you anxious to get on with the job and get aboard and get the job done?
Oh, yes, at this particular stage it got pretty toughy. It was lovely to get out of the mounting yard. By the time you get the instructions from the owners and the trainers and, standing around and all the fanfare is the area that you get a bit excited about. But, it's got more of that in years gone by. It wasn't so bad in my time, but by the same rule, I was a very towy jockey on race day.
You're talking about the instructions from owners and trainers. Now, what about the stewards? Do they get the jockeys in before the race to make sure that it's a cleanly run race?
Yes, you're always taken in before the race and given the instruction that, there'll be heavier penalties for these particular races, and, you've got to be further, 2 lengths in front, and, the usual thing. I mean, actually, after a while, Peter, it becomes repetitious and you don't take much notice of it.
Bit like a football coach.
Well, I think that's probably right. I think the first time I ever went to rode in a Caulfield Cup, and I went into the steward's room before the race, and, I came out like jelly. I thought, my God, what's this all about? But, after a while, you got used to that.
Back to Pat Hyland shortly. Greg, any late moves on the Cup?
Peter, there certainly has been some late moves on the Melbourne Cup. Double Trigger is still going to run the clear favourite, but there's been a plunge at longer figures on Jern. He's around 20s to 14s on track now, getting into about what he was showing on the TAB. So it's 5.20 and 2.60 Double Trigger. Jern well backed into 15.20 and 5.10. Vintage Crop at $8.80 and 3.10. Steady in the ring. The Phantom Chance has halved its opening quote. Now it opened 125 to 1, but there's been money for him. Number 4, he's 37.30 and $10.10. Then Doremus very steady around the 10-to-1 mark, number 6. He's at 9.80 and 3.40 on the Victorian tote. 9, Count Chivas. Touch Easy, 14.30 and 4.70. Also a little easy, number 17. Yes, indeed, at 20.40, 6.10. Number 14, Quick Ransom, has been quite easy. 19.50 and 6.10. And a little easy too, Electronic, at $23.90 and $7.30. Yes, indeed, about 14s to 16s. Fewer chosen now back to 9-to-1. But Double Trigger is the favourite, ahead of Vintage Crop and Fewer Chosen, and Jern heavily backed late in betting. Racing in the Melbourne Cup. Vintage Crop just a fraction slow to move. Bullwinkle, Fewer Chosen, It's All in Fun, jumped away quickly on the inside. And Oliver's grabbed hold of Doremus, dropping across the field early. Double Take prominent. Coachwood going forward. Boart not far away. Now Double Trigger's up about 5th in the early stages as they settle down. Canane's dropped Vintage Crop right back through the field. He's a clear last now at the 2800, and Coachwood had gone to the lead. Double Take is second the outside, followed by Bullwinkle and Fewer Chosen on the inside. With those as Double Trigger, he's not far away from the leaders, followed by Darcher, and then on the outside of these horses, Stony Bay is trapped out wide from Sir Kingy. Next in the field, It's All in Fun. Yes, indeed, trapped wide. Nothing Like a Dane stormed together from the Phantom Chance, ridden along a little there, followed by Boart. 2 lengths to Jern as they came to the post the first time. Then Dupain, Quick Ransom and Electronic, followed by third last as Doremus, and then Count Chivas and Vintage Crop is last of all. So they thunder out of the straight. 2,200 metres to go in the Melbourne Cup. And the leader to the riverside will be Coachwood. Double Trigger is right behind him with Double Take on the outside. A length and a half further back is Stony Bay around the outside of Darcher and Fewer Chosen. 1 further back is Bullwinkle, Sir Kingy, and then Nothing Like a Dane, followed by It's All in Fun. Yes, indeed, trapped out wide. 1 further back in the field, the Phantom Chance, followed by Storm. 2 lengths further back is Quick Ransom and Boart together, and then Jern, Doremus, Electronic, followed further back in the field by Dupain, Count Chivas and Vintage Crop is last of all. Coachwood the leader. 1,700 left to go along the railway, along the riverside, and Coachwood in front of Double Take. In third placing, Fewer Chosen on the inside, followed by Double Trigger on the outside. There he's beautifully positioned fourth. Next, Nothing Like a Dane, Bullwinkle and Darcher. They're followed further back in the field by Storm. It's All in Fun is trapped a little wide going forward. They're followed then by, back on the inside, the Phantom Chance. Next is Yes Indeed when they go past the 1,400, followed by Sir Kingy. A length and a half to Boart, and they're trailed then by Quick Ransom over on the inside as Jern starts a run. 1 further back, Doremus, Dupain, Electronic. Then came Vintage Crop, who's third to last as they go past the 1,200. Count Chivas has gone around him, and Stony Bay might be pulled out of the race. He has been pulled up. Stony Bay, 1,100 metres to go. They came down the side near the 1,000 metre mark, and the leader is Coachwood, tested on the outside now by It's All in Fun. 3 lengths further back in the field is Bullwinkle, and they're being followed then by Fewer Chosen. Back behind them, Double Trigger's losing ground very quickly. He looks to be gone, Double Trigger. He's gone right back through the field at the 800 metre mark, and Vintage Crop is behind him. They're at the turn now with about 650 metres to go. Coachwood, It's All in Fun. Bullwinkle a length and a half away from Storm. Yes, indeed, winding into it out wide, and they're followed by Doremus starting a run when they sweep around the turn, and then Fewer Chosen. Nothing Like a Dane's on the inside. Coachwood turns in front. On the outside, It's All in Fun is coming at it, and here comes the Caulfield Cup winner, Doremus. Nothing Like a Dane on the inside, and then Storm from Bullwinkle and Quick Ransom, and then Boart. They're at the 300 now. Doremus whipped to the lead. The 3-year-old Nothing Like a Dane coming at him. They're clear of Coachwood, and then came Quick Ransom. It's Doremus in front inside the 200 metre mark, led by a length to Nothing Like a Dane, giving everything. Then Quick Ransom, Coachwood and Vintage Crop, but it's all Doremus at the 100. Raced away 3 lengths to Nothing Like a Dane, and then came Vintage Crop, but Doremus takes the double. Doremus 3.5. Nothing Like a Dane runs second. Vintage Crop is third. Quick Ransom 4, and then Coachwood followed by Boart. A gap to Storm, followed by It's All in Fun, Dupain, and then came Bullwinkle. A long break to Count Chivas, followed in by Fewer Chosen. Yes, indeed, Electronic. Jern a mile back with the Phantom Chance. Oh, gee, they're all tired. Next is Double Trigger. He's finished a mile back in the field, followed by Darcher, and then Double Take, and Sir Kingy is last. Doremus has taken the Cups double. Damien Oliver wins his first. It's Lee Friedman again. Number 6, Doremus, has won the Caulfield Melbourne Cup double. He's the 9th to do it, the first since Let's Open 91. And he's stormed away to win the Melbourne Cup by a widening 3.5 lengths. Number 6, Doremus. Damien Oliver is first. Number 23 has run second. Nothing Like a Dane, Shane Dye. And number 3 was third, Vintage Crop, ridden by Mick Kinane. Numbers in the Melbourne Cup are 6, 23 and 3. Well, a wonderful win. The Freedman Brothers Incorporated, Freedman Racing, have won their 3rd Melbourne Cup. They were successful with Terrific in 1989. They did it again in 1992. And they've taken their 3rd now, and it's an elated Damien Oliver, who has won his first Melbourne Cup. He's let a couple slip away. This will be cherished. Damien, Australia's champion rider. There's little question of that now, if there ever was before. Let's join him on Network 10.
Paris Lane, you made amends today.
Oh, mate, that last 200 is the longest 200 of your life, I tell you.
I think you had all of Victoria or all of Australia on you because of the crowd. We were over here, we were 2 furlongs away and we could hear it, and I found myself even cheering you, wanting you to keep going, mate.
Oh, mate, it's just sensational. I'd like to thank my mum and my brother in Perth. They've just been the greatest supporters of mine ever since I moved over from Perth, and gee, I just love them both, mate.
Damien, 23 years of age, you've ran second in a Melbourne Cup, you've won a Melbourne Cup, you've won, what now, 4 Caulfield Cups. Gee, where do you go from here?
Mate, this is unbelievable. I just won the Melbourne Cup.
He's very excited, fellas, and he's going to have a great night tonight, and he deserves it. He's a champion.
Johnny Letts and Damien Oliver giving the whoops to the crowd. And why shouldn't he be as thrilled as he is? He was second last year on the Paris Lane, and he would have desperately loved to have taken the double that year. He's got it this time. Coming from the absolute outside barrier, he's totally outstayed the field. Vintage Crop has run a magnificent 3rd. And Nothing Like a Dane at 3 years of age has vindicated Tommy Smith's insistence that he run with a courageous 2nd. He desperately tried to go with the winner, but he just couldn't do it, and it was Doremus who's proven to be the absolute superior stayer on the day. Damien Oliver coming back, topping the cap. He'll soon be weighing in front of more than 80,000 people. Just before he does, let's catch Lee Freedman's reaction.
I think he's, in the handicap class, he's right up there with him, I think.
Brilliant ride.
Great ride, great ride. Got a bit further back than I wanted to. I'll have to talk to him about that. But, no, great staying effort.
He won't win a beauty contest, but you'll never forget him.
He's a sensational horse. You know, when he won the Caulfield Cup and he went to the line as he did, I thought this horse has got Melbourne Cup written all over him. And in fact, we thought the Caulfield Cup was a bonus.
Okay, this is magic stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1995 Melbourne Cup winner, Doremus, returning to scale, takes the Cup's double by Norman Pettiquod from Golden Woods, who's by Zamazan. He's raced by Paces Australia, Mrs. K. Woodruff, J. Smith, K. Biggs Enterprises Syndicate, R. Austin, R. Russell. Lee Freedman wins it again, and Damien Oliver takes it for the first time. Second, number 23, the 3-year-old. Nothing Like a Dane by Dane Hill from Like a Pretender, Shane Dye and Gay Waterhouse. Gay running second for the 2nd time. And 3rd to Vintage Crop. A great run by the Irish champion. Coming from the tail of the field, he's by Roussillon from Overplay, ridden by Michael Kinane. But let's hear it for the 1995 Melbourne Cup winner, Doremus, as he returns to scale. And let me tell you, there hasn't been a jockey enjoy a Melbourne Cup win like this for a long time. The most famous return to the scale in racing in Australia, the long walk down the Roses. It is the most savoured moment a jockey can experience, and Damien lapped up every moment of it. He just enjoyed that. He was stood high in the irons, punched the air. People rose in a crescendo as he went by them, and it has been an extremely popular win. De Remus takes the Cups double, and he joins a list. The last to do it, Let's Elope in 91, Gurner's Lane, Galilee, one of the greatest stayers this country's seen. Even Stevens rising fast, the mare Rivette, the Trump and Poseidon. Only 9 in 135 have done it. And concern in the double trigger camp because he's run a shocker. We'll get the full wash up on that, but he was gone more than a half mile from home. Let's catch up on what it's been like down in the mounting yard as rain starts to fall again here at Flemington. Peter.
Yes, Greg, we've had the winning jockey and the winning trainer. Tommy Smith is with me. I can't find Gai Waterhouse. Tommy, a part owner of the second horse, Nothing Like a Dame. What a fantastic performance. You must be very proud of the horse in its first ever preparation.
Yes, it's a great run. I think all credit to Shane Dye, the best rider I think I've ever seen in my life in a race. From outside Marlton to be on the fence, going out of the straight.
Back here next year, Tom?
I hope so.
Hope so. OK, Tommy Smith. Can't see Gai Waterhouse, Greg. We'll try and get a comment from Dermot Weld, the trainer of the third horse. In fact, we might be able to button in, if I can just get through here now. He's just having a look at the horse's leg. On the near side, there might be some consternation about the horse. Of course, Damien Oliver was just spattered with mud, his face, and the horses have got mud all over them. And of course, Vintage Crop, as you call it, was last all the way. Made a move coming towards Chiquita Lodge and came very wide on the turn. And Michael Kinane was whacking away at the 400 metres, but unfortunately, he just couldn't bridge the gap. I'll just see whether I can get a quick word from Dermot. Well, Dermot, you must be very proud of the horse finishing third from so far back.
Yeah, I was thrilled with him. He's run a super race. He was taken out of the race in the first 50 yards. He got hammered on both sides. Again, he got stopped with 7 furlongs to run. And the ground was just a little bit slower than he likes, but this horse has run a superb race.
Are you concerned about his fitness? I just saw you looking down at his leg.
No, he's perfectly sound. No. It was very deep out the far side, and he just lost his footing for a few strides. Otherwise, Michael thinks he might even have won.
So the plan was not to drop back to last?
No. That wasn't the plan.
Dr. Murphy is here, the owner of this magnificent horse, Vintage Crop, who's not even puffing at the moment. Doctor, he looks as if he's only just run 1,200 metres.
He was just getting wound up when the race finished, unfortunately. But he ran his heart out, a great race, and as Michael said, he just couldn't get him moving early on, and of course all he could do was to just drop him back, and he just saw he came from last to a very gallant third. In this ground, in these testing conditions, the weight he had, he's proved that he is the best staying horse in the world.
OK, first, 7th and 3rd in the Melbourne Cup. Dr. Murphy, the owner of Vintage Crop, thank you very much. Greg, I think we've got reaction from the winner, the second horse, and also the third horse in this year's Melbourne Cup.
Yes, and obviously we will need to, if we can, find out what happened to Double Trigger. He went right back through the field after sitting on the pace, and he was beaten even before the 800 metres, a half mile was reached. Now, correct weight is there. Correct weight on the Melbourne Cup for 6:23 and 3. De Remus has made it all his own in the straight. He's won officially by 4 lengths. A neck between second and third, and a half a length to fourth, and the slowest time since Van der Hum in 1976. The time is 3 minutes 27.6. Van der Hum, of course, on an absolute bog, ran 3:34.1. Now the tape dividends, $9.90 and $3.40 for the winner, De Remus. $4.80 for Nothing Like a Dame, and $3.10 for Vintage Crop. The Quinella, $93.20. The Exacta paid $241.10. The double, $97.10, and the trifecta is yet to come. And the presentation is going to take place in reasonably heavy rain, probably the heaviest we've had for the entire day. The course had soaked up well over 2 inches before racing began here in the past 48 hours, perhaps just a little heavier than what was required by a number of runners. Maybe even that was the case for Double Trigger, because he was well beaten in Paris on rain-affected ground, and then, as we know, he had that lung complaint, and then travelled. All this put together with his big weight might have just taken a toll on him at the 800-metre mark when he dropped out of the race at that point. But it was all De Remus. It was absolutely a one-act affair as he pulled away in the straight. He'd had one start on rain-affected ground before, and he'd failed. He'd won, I should say, at his maiden in Te Rapa in New Zealand. This was by far the worst ground he'd been on, and he just drove through it with Damien Oliver riding desperately over the final 400 metres, but he just pulled right away. It was a wonderful victory. We're getting the official finishing order, and we'll bring that to you before we close our grandstand coverage of the Melbourne Cup this year. 6:23 and 3, the official numbers. I know a lot of you would want to know where your particular fancy finished, and it's just as well that this race wasn't run 15 minutes late because the rain is extremely heavy now. Okay, just a quick run through. This is where your fancy finished in the field of 21. Double Trigger finished 17th. Zern 15th, heavily supported. Vintage Crop 3rd. The Phantom Chance 16th. It's All In Fun was 8th. Doremus the winner. Stony Bay was pulled up, as we mentioned, at the 1100. Bullwinkle ran 10th. Count Chivas 11th. Darcher 19th. Double Take 18th. Quick Ransom 4th. Sakingi 20th. Pure Chosen 12th. Yes Indeed 13th. Raced wide all the way. Storm 7th. Boart 6th. Coachwood 5th. Japan 9th. Electronic 14th. And Nothing Like a Dane was 2nd. So the last over the line was Sakingi, and pulled up in the race was Stony Bay. So, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps it up from our Melbourne Cup coverage for Grandstand. The numbers 6:23 and 3 on behalf of everybody involved with it. Tony Benici, Peter White on our technical side of it, Darren Abrahams for the totes, Peter Booth and Pat Highland in the mounting yard. Greg Miles from Flemington signing off saying good afternoon, and I hope you back the Melbourne Cup winner. Doremus whipped to the lead. The 3-year-old Nothing Like a Dane coming at him. They're clear of Coachwood, and then came Quick Ransom. It's Doremus in front inside the 200-metre mark, led by a link to Nothing Like a Dane, giving everything. Then Quick Ransom, Coachwood and Vintage Crop, but it's all Doremus at the 100. Raced away 3 lengths to Nothing Like a Dane, and then came Vintage Crop, but Doremus takes the double. Doremus 3.5. Nothing Like a Dane runs 2nd. Vintage Crop is 3rd. Quick Ransom 4, and then Coachwood followed by Boart. A gap to Storm, followed by It's All In Fun, Duplain, and then came Bullwinkle. A long race to Count Chivas.
Nights with Rod Quinn on 2CN.
Tonight we'll delve into the world of Tai Chi with Dr. Peter Cook and Sean Dennison. Andrew Davies will be in with his regular science spot. David Kilby on some unusual cover versions. Spike Milligan's one-time partner Jeremy Taylor will join us and sing the next line. Oh, and the quiz, so call us at 7 for some tricky brain-teasing questions.
Rod Quinn, weeknights from 7, here on Canberra's 2CN.
Hello, I'm Elaine Harris here with you until 4 this afternoon, and I hope your horse won the Melbourne Cup. Now, you might be aware that we did run a sweepstake here on 2CN at 2 o'clock today. And of course, we have 4 winners, first, second, third, and last. And the people who got those horses are Margaret, Fran, Iris, and finally, the last prize goes to Anne, who rang up for her 90-year-old aunt. And thank you very much indeed for taking part. 275-4666 if you want to ring Virginia and confirm that you heard that, and you can pick up your prizes here from 2CN. We're giving away 2CN prize packs. With me now, Alex Sloan to talk about what's happening here on 2CN after 4. Good afternoon.
Hi, Elaine.
Did you back a winner?
I never bet unless I'm actually at the track. It's a rule of mine.
I have to confess that I've never done it, and I wish I had today, because I was going through the horses this morning, and I said to himself, we should put some money on Doremus, because it's actually got my Labrador's name in it, the first 4 letters of it, and it won.
Yes,
if I had it, probably
also,
wouldn't have.
You should always look to the Caulfield Cup winner as well, because of course you know
you?
Yes, well they can do the distance, and so yes, a great Caulfield Cup Melbourne Cup double. But no, I didn't have any money on. No, I didn't have it in the sweep either. I did. Them's the breaks. It was very exciting. It was great to see Damien Oliver as well saying, "Oh God, can't believe it! I won the Melbourne Cup." It was great. And today on the program, of course, it's very race oriented. You can't help it on Melbourne Cup Day. We've got some great archival bits. A fantastic call at the Geelong races when there was a scrub fire, and the poor commentator actually couldn't see the horses at all because of smoke. Today, we'll also check on the most heavily backed horses in the Melbourne Cup with the ACTAB. Father Paul Collins is coming on to talk about, you may have noticed that the Catholic Church says it will offer refuge to East Timor refugees. So we're going to talk about religion in Indonesia.